Welcome back to Reading Reddit. Let's go ahead and get into our first story. This story is called Oh Dear, I Forgot the Passwords by Reddit user Pierced Skins. A few years ago I got a job working at a scrapyard. It collected vehicles written off in accidents by insurance companies over the road from where I lived, so it was really convenient. The hours were 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, 9 to 12 Saturdays. It was supposed to be admin work, sorting out paperwork for drivers to collect vehicles, dealing with telephones, putting everything onto computer, responding to emails, the usual stuff. I know nothing about cars. Shocking for a grown man, I know. But I'm very good with office routines. I'm also pretty good with computers. It was only a small regional operation, and there were 3 of us in the office. Transport manager, myself, and my best friend, who I had persuaded the owner to bring in, as she was local and desperate for a job. The owner seemed okay, but was a bit full on. He came down a couple of times a week to sort out vehicles to be auctioned off, and manage the auctions themselves. He decided that it was going to be my job to photograph the vehicles for the online catalogue, and leave my friend to do the office work. I wasn't happy about this, as the whole idea of taking the job was to be in the office, and not to be outside in all the weather. After I had taken the photos, I had to transfer them onto the PC, then email them to the head office once a week. I had also had to do all the online email stuff as my friend was clueless about computers. A couple of months passed, my friend managed to get her husband a job as a driver. His hours were 7 to 7. And rather than come into work separately, they decided to come in together, then have to wait till he was finished before going home. This meant she was in work 2.5 hours early, and didn't go home until 2 hours after she finished. The owner thought it was marvelous that she worked 4 hours, plus extra every day, without extra pay, and was constantly on my back about me arriving 5 minutes before my start time, and leaving dead on my finish time. I never realized that she didn't start work until after lunch, and did nothing after 5 PM. He didn't want someone who would only work the hours they were paid, and threatened to sack me several times for not being more flexible. After a short while, the owner decided that I should do a full vehicle damage assessments on each vehicle along with the photos. I'm not sure, but I believe it's supposed to be a proper trained mechanic who does the reports. Not someone who doesn't even know the make and model without looking at the writing on the back. I explained all this to him, and he told me that I'd do it or he'd sack me and find someone else to do it. I tried to do the reports, but apart from the obvious damage, I don't know what I was looking for. Apparently cars have something called a subframe. I don't know what that is or why it's a problem if it's twisted. More threats of sacking. As luck would have it, I rang a company I'd previously worked for to chat with my ex-boss there about his upcoming wedding. I casually mentioned I was looking for a new job, and he said they were more than happy for me to return to them. He asked me when I could start. This was on Wednesday. I told him I could start the following Monday. He sent me an email confirming my start date, and as soon as I got it, I started clearing my desk. My friend asked me what I was doing, and I told her I quit. She then went off on a mad rant about how useless I was, and how she didn't see her kids because she was at work so much, and how I was going to destroy her family because she would have to take over all my work, as well as her own, so would never get time to herself. I told her she was a useless cow who was lazy to do any work, and her kids were neglected because she didn't want to walk a mile or so home and would rather wait for a lift from her husband. It got pretty nasty. I stormed out with all my stuff and was so happy to leave. What nobody realized was that I'd password protected the computer I used. The login and the files themselves were all password protected, as were the emails. They only had one internet enabled machine, and I was the only one who used it. Nobody else knew the passwords, as I had been told to keep them a secret for security reasons. I had written them down and kept the notebook with passwords locked in a filing cabinet. That night, I got a phone call from my ex-friend demanding to know what the passwords were. She was really rude and was calling me some pretty horrible names. I told her to go fornicate with herself and stop calling me. I didn't mention the notebook or its location at that point. I wasn't in the mood to help her out and just hung up on her. I got a voicemail a few weeks later from her abusing me again and telling me it had cost a fortune to pay an IT company to unlock the computer and reset the passwords. She told me they were going to sue me and she was going to be a witness against me, saying she had been nothing but nice and I was refusing to help out of spite. I was unhappy, so I rang the transport manager, who I was friendly with. I told him I was sick of getting abusive phone calls from someone I had once considered my best friend. I also told him that she knew where the passwords were located and told him exactly where to look in the filing cabinet. He found them, then immediately apologized for the trouble I had been put through. He told the owner, who sacked my ex-best friend, on the spot. When her husband got in, he found out she'd been sacked and had to go with the owner, so he was sacked on the spot too. I found out later that they were presented with the IT bill and it had been taken out of their final paycheck, so their last month in holiday was eaten up by the cost of unlocking the PC. The best part? A year later, the company folded. I don't know why, but I assume it might have been because of the owner's delight in sacking people. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this story. If you did, make sure you smash that like button, guys, and make sure you subscribe for our future stories. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next episode.